I love the construction side. I've always been able to build them with equity built in.
Mm,
For me, looking at retail, and I look at retail every day because I work with investors on the property management. I'm looking for them.
mhm,
I'm making a better return on new construction. I usually get between 15 to 20% equity by the
mm.
time I'm completing.
Alrighty, folks. One of the things that I love to do is unpack real estate investors' story. We have a new story for you here today. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing very well. Do us a favor, introduce yourself to the audience, where you're at, what you do, what's the portfolio look like, and then we'll get into the journey.
Sure. My name's Brandon Potts. I'm out of Fort Worth, Dallas area. And right now I have 8 doors and working on door number 9 and 10.
Very, very cool. All of these in and around Dallas, Texas.
Just outside of Fort Worth, yes.
Very, very cool. So I'd love to hear the story. When did you get the first unit? What year was that?
Actually, we're on you would say year number 4. This
Okay.
is our 4th year.
All right. So you were buying in 1920, 2020, 2019, something like that?
Actually, I would call it more the build to rent model. That's what I've done is new construction.
All right. Well, let's unpack that a little bit. So you're buying infill lots, or are you buying what does this
Yeah,
all look like? Because we've never had this conversation before.
it's I think pretty unique. I was out there in Vegas and I didn't find anyone with a similar story as mine. And that's the beauty of it. All of us come
Yeah.
from a different angle and you're hearing everybody's story and you're picking up little tidbits from each person. So it was wonderful.
Awesome.
So I have always loved construction. I think if I'd have started earlier in life, I might have been a builder. I just love
Mm,
it that much. And so the first lots, I was going into the story with it too. My
mhm.
background, we started a real estate sales team right outside of Fort Worth, and I get a call. Well, it all started, let me just start even before that. Back in, I think it was around 16 or 17, my wife is in the business with me, and she saw a little small commercial strip center.
Okay.
No, actually, it was closer to 14. I'm sorry, thinking of dates. 14. And she called on it, and the owner said that they were willing to sell for around 800,000.
Okay.
I knew instantly because I was in commercial banking before that. I said, told my wife, I said, it is worth 1.5.
Oh, okay.
And I knew it. I knew those metrics. But we were in the middle of building our house that we're in today. And at that moment, I know more now than I do then. And I sat there and I paced for a couple of days. My wife couldn't get comfort because we're in the middle of construction on our
Sure.
house. And I told her then, I said, I will sell this in one, at most 2 calls. I said,
Yeah.
I'm making myself sick. I can't do it. I know it's worth it.
Yeah.
Sure enough, we do. I have all these regrets. I still talk about it today with my wife, you know. But I will say this, it lit a fire under me, and I said, never again
Right.
will I miss an opportunity. And
Right.
I had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all those books. You mentioned one the other day that I hadn't read as the Retire Young and Retire Rich. So I pulled it back out and read it again. I was listening to something you were saying. And it was reminding me of a lot of things. And
Yeah.
so I said, never again. And so I'm driving to work one day, heading to the office, and I get this call out of somebody from out of Washington State. He says, hey, I've got 3 lots.
Okay.
I'm looking to sell them. I think at that time he said it was 80,000, and I knew exactly where they were because it was right on my way to work. And I'm
Okay.
sitting here thinking, 80,000, I might be interested. I'm like, yeah,
Opportunities knocking.
yes, yes. I said, this is it. I'm not going to miss this opportunity. So I'm sitting there thinking, what am I missing? So I went and walked the lots,
Uh,
called my wife. I said, hey, here's what he's offering. I think we're going to buy it. She says, go for it.
mm,
So we're working through some of the details, and it was on a Saturday morning. I get a call from him again. He says, man, I got to sell them now. Will you take all 3 lots for 48,000 if you do it right now? I said, done. I'm like, I'm not telling a soul. I'm not even telling my banker. Until I get it in contract, I'm telling no one.
Right, right.
And so those were all, one was a commercial corner. I mean,
Okay.
this is incredible. One's a commercial corner and two are multi-family lots.
All right.
So that was my first opportunity. I will say
Were they, sorry, were they continuous or were they different
they
places?
were all right beside each other. The
Okay.
commercial
Yeah.
corner was kind of across the
Got
street.
it. Got it. Okay.
And so I held on to it for a couple of years and was really kind of laying out my plan. I'm 52. So I'm like, I'd always made a goal in my mind. Then I was like, I want to retire at 50. Well, I'm not getting there. I've got to get into to momentum, and
Hmm.
started writing out my goals. And I said, okay, I need to do about $1 million in property a year, and I need to get going now. These are
Right.
just costing me money.
Right. Yeah. Because at that point, the people don't know when you own land, which I have, you have maintenance and upkeep, especially if it's within a city. You've got some costs and you've got some other, people could leave trash and mattresses and junk on it and
Got to mow
all
it. You
that's,
got to pay the
yeah,
property taxes.
yeah, yeah. There's
So
costs.
went into it. But because I was in banking, I have lots of banking relationships with some of the regional banks around here, and that got that first one. So, well, we paid for these lots with passive income. So I had been a team leader for Keller Williams,
Mhm.
and we had gotten some profit share, and it was residual even if I left Keller Williams. And I said,
Okay.
well, I'm going to use this passive income to pay for these lots and to pay for these, paying down the notes. And we ended up
Okay.
paying them off with that passive income, never part of our personal
Like
income.
it. Like it.
We start the first one, no money down. The bank says, no, you don't have to put any money down. We'll just take the lots as collateral,
Hmm.
built that first fourplex. A year later, or two, that was so that would have been, we finished it up in 2020.
Okay.
Scary time. I'm building in when everything is
When the
shut
world
down,
shuts down.
when the world's, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I
Okay.
was also building a family vacation home down on the coast in Texas. So I'm building two during the
Wow.
cold. You pucker a little tight.
Yeah. 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 That'll get your attention.
But it turned out well. Man, I wish I'd
Right.
have had 10 of them at that moment.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so from there, built a triplex. Also, the
So
last,
let's walk the audience through it, right? So you go to a bank, probably give them designs, you give them a cost of construction. They take the land as collateral, so you're not out of pocket. You hire a general contractor. Do you hire a general contractor or you
I
GC it
do.
yourself?
I
Okay,
do. I decide I have two businesses, a
sure.
sales organization, and then we have a property management company. And I really believe in leverage. I was building those businesses,
Hmm.
and I knew I made an agreement with my builder that I'll use my vendors for certain things.
Right.
You do all the stuff I don't want,
Nah.
you know,
Okay, that makes
it,
sense. So you
and
got a
it worked well.
GC. Were these just the standard? What is a standard fourplex in Texas? Two bedroom, two bath, or what are we talking about?
This one was a 2 bedroom, two bath. Each unit was 2 bedroom, two
Okay.
bath,
And they're just cookie cutter side by side or top and bottom?
top and bottom. Learned
Okay.
some lessons. I'll share lessons. I think I wouldn't do that again. My next one, I did more that townhouse style.
Yeah.
I was seeing the turnover on the 2 bedrooms too, and I was thinking, I wonder, and reading up and listening to a lot of videos, I decided to go the triplex with 3 bedroom, two bath,
Okay.
seeing if I can get a little more stability in my tenants. And I'm
Hmm.
already seeing that. They allowed me there to do the same thing, no money down. So here I have not a bit of earned income other than
Right.
that passive income in it.
Hmm.
Doing that one, then now, so I'm looking for land all the time, and I
Hmm.
tend to find I'm pretty selective. I agree with the buy box. I have my buy box when it comes to the dirt,
Hmm.
and I'm looking for the right price point on the dirt. And I found some literally at Thanksgiving this year. My nephew's in real estate, and he's talking to, I think, one of his cousins, and he's talking about this lot listing.
Ah,
And and I hear him saying, I hope you don't mind saying numbers. He said $15,000 with utilities. I'm like, huh?
Huh? Huh?
Wait,
What?
let me hear
What?
this.
That a down payment? What is that?
Yeah, where is this? And so I hear that, and I said, listen, I'm going to be over there in the morning.
Mm, let's go.
So that
Yeah.
was a Friday after Thanksgiving drive over there. I ended up not picking that lot. It wasn't laid out right,
Mm,
and found others, bought two lots, and we're already in pad on the next one.
that's nice.
It's a new bank. And what I've learned from my background with banking people,
Hmm.
there is a strategy to them. They are generally risk averse.
Oh, of course. Yep.
That's why they're in banking. That's why they're in charge of the money. So
Yeah.
I always learned, because I was in those loan committees. I was the vice president of commercial lending for a bank.
Hmm.
And I learned there is a little bit of politics that goes on inside those loan committees.
No.
Yeah.
Shocking. It's
So
it's involving people and there's politics. Call me shocked.
that's right. So I really choose my loan officer carefully, because I know that the ones typically I pick that, you can say, top of the food chain,
Sure.
but they vet it pretty well. And
Mhm.
in this, and if I get them on board, generally it's a secure deal.
Right.
And I also let them know way ahead of time. I'll say, hey, I'm looking at this project. I might be 6 months to a year out. I say, I'm looking at this project. What do you think?
Hmm.
They'll then either say yes, no, or here's some things I want to see. And it
Mm.
lets me prep so that I'm ready.
Right.
This last one, I made two banks compete.
Oh.
I knew it was the right time. I felt like our lender, and I think the regional banks I know they're getting tighter. And I even
Hmm.
had that conversation with her. I said, hey, I'm your good client, but it feels like y'all are getting tighter on my requests as others, and we're your good clients.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're the
Yeah.
ones paying.
Well, when their balance sheet gets tight, everybody feels it. That's for
Yes.
sure.
And so
Yeah.
I made a bank compete, and that bank offered me 75% of construction, and
Mm.
the other new bank offered me 75% of appraisal.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Uh, And so I told both banks, well, I'm holding my money accountable. Just
Sure.
like you're holding yours accountable, I'm holding mine. And so I love the construction side. I've always been able to build them with equity built in.
Mm.
For me, looking at retail, and I look at retail every day because I work with investors on the property management. I'm looking for them.
Hmm.
I'm making a better return on new construction. I usually get between 15 to 20% equity by the
Mm.
time I'm completing. And so it's really, for the metrics for me, the numbers are good. And I'm holding that number. Okay, if I'm putting nothing in, of course the return is infinite, but
Hmm.
I'm also looking at profit per door. And
Sure.
so my general rule of thumb to start looking is around $200 a door with brand new construction. I think is really good.
Yeah, your expenses are going to be lower, certainly the first 5 to 10 years. It's all new capital, so it makes perfect sense. Let's walk somebody through that's never done a new construction of a multifamily. So you get past all the city stuff, the architect stuff, you quote unquote break ground. Do we start with just leveling the lot and laying a pad? Is that kind of where it begins?
Yes, I tend to look for lots that are fairly flat.
Hmm.
I even passed on a lot the other day that just had more grade than I feel comfortable with, because that adds cost to the construction. So I've learned these each time. I'm learning something new,
Sure.
and so I'm trying to like find level lots. So yes, you're scraping the lot, or you're clearing it and then building the pad. But most of them are, to your eye, they look level, but they always need a little bit of dirt
Yeah.
work. You know.
Yeah, of course, of course. And then so that's generally speaking relatively quick process. Then you're going to do what's probably called the framing is next. Is that kind of the next big
You're
thing,
setting
framing?
up form boards, and then
Okay.
they're doing the underground plumbing work, and then they're
Mm,
pouring the concrete, and then framing up from there. And though it's usually the slowest part, you get impatient because it just
yeah,
takes forever to get off the.
ever. Yeah.
But you're wanting to do it right. We have
Yeah.
a situation right now that I think I've got an issue, and so we're working through the foundation plan with the engineer because I plan to keep them long term. I'm sitting here thinking a 25-year plan until I'm gone.
Right.
No, I wanna do this right, not
Yeah.
do
You want to do it one time.
exactly. So we're working through a little issue that might cost a little bit more, but in my cost, I include so when I did this last one, I include acquisition cost of the lot, the
Mhm.
closing costs with the title company, the
Sure.
interest carried during construction, and closing to the 30-year permanent financing.
Mm,
So when I have my numbers, because I've done it so many times, I've got it pretty very dialed in. And then my
mhm.
ultimate goal, and I tell the bank, I'm going to come under budget. I
Right.
know how to do this.
Right.
And I typically can on these smaller projects. This is a small house I'm doing right now. Under budget's not much, maybe
Mm,
$10,000, but I'm already heading towards there now. The
I like
things I
it.
do with the bank is when I give them my personal financial statement, because I was in banking, I write them up because I was the one at the bank that used to write up all the loan packages.
Mm,
So I learned how to do that. And I'm doing the banker's work and I'm saying, hey, I'm underwriting this just like you.
right.
Here's all of my portfolio. Here's my loan to value on all of my properties. Here's my debt to equity ratios. I'm doing the things that they analyze.
Mm,
I'm doing that for them, showing, hey, I'm tracking it too.
right. I like it. What does the timeline look for a fourplex? Are you looking once all approvals get in less than 12 months, or what?
Oh,
What are we
less than
talking?
12 months. Yes, less than 12
Yeah.
months.
Are we
This
talking less
one,
than 8 months?
I'd say it's between 8 and 12.
Okay. All right. I
This
like
one
it.
right now, it's a small house. We're expecting about 6 months on a 1,300 square foot house.
Okay. All right. And then again, something I hear about Texas, and I have no idea how it plays with new construction, is property taxes. Obviously, as a lot, they're not collecting much, but once the building is there, I'm guessing property taxes jump significantly, I'm guessing.
It does, but here's the niche on these two. It
Okay.
was outside of the city limits, so
Of course they are.
I don't pay city taxes.
I
So it
like
was
it.
a big difference, almost 1%
Mm,
to what property taxes was, because around our area, it's around 2.25%. And so I include that in the ratio. Well, these are outside of city limits, so you don't have city taxes. And so
that's
my
nice.
ratio on this, I'm getting an extra percent. That made it even sweeter. So I'm looking for those little niches and little,
Yeah.
you know,
Little holes in the matrix
yes, that's
that
exactly
help you.
right.
So again, I forgive me. I don't. Does the tax reassessment come once you get occupancy, like certificate of occupancy? Is that when it happens?
Ours does, and here's another glitch in the matrix I've figured out too, is statements come out for property taxes in April. Well, if
Okay.
you don't have your green tag of occupancy, they evaluate it at interim construction.
Okay. Makes sense.
So then, like this project we're doing right now should be done in June. I'll have 6 months under a much lower tax bill on top of that other city savings.
Of
So I try
course.
to have my properties complete around June
That's
after
awesome.
that. I just little things I've learned over the
Yeah.
years.
Oh,
Get a
it's the project slipped a little bit. Sorry.
just gives you a little boost to get going that first
Yeah.
6 to 9 months.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Um, what are some kind of lessons learned? Because a lot of people are interested in real estate. Some folks may have that construction. What are some little tidbits or gotchas that somebody has never done it should really watch out for?
Make sure you know your zoning. Leave room for contingency. I have a contingency number in every project.
I like it.
Um, you've got to leave room for margin of error. Typically, once you're past framing, there's less errors. So once I get out of the framing side, I know I'm pretty close to the clear.
Mm,
Then it's all just choices of my own of the finish out, which
sure.
then it's my fault if I'm over budget,
Right.
But we love it. I get the kids involved. I'm trying to teach I've got 3 children here at the house, and I have them help me pick out colors, pick
Mm,
out fixtures. I'm trying to teach all of them a little bit about rental properties because someday they might be theirs.
Hmm.
And I think about that if I were to buy older, if I were buying 80s or even 90s properties, by the time I'm gone, they're
Yeah.
probably going to want to get rid of them. So if I'm building new construction, I think by the time my wife and I are gone and they're taking them, they might be only 25 years old.
Right.
They can then have a little more flexibility of choosing to keep them.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. Thinking, the handoff to the next generation makes a lot of sense. I am curious. In the first deal you talked about, there were two multifamily lots and a commercial lot. Do you still have it, or did you sell that off individually to someone else?
I still have the commercial lot. It's right beside some fourplexes. I'm real hesitant on commercial right now, as we all are. We're hearing
Mhm.
what's going on. So I'm holding it for the moment. We're considered selling it and recycling that capital into something else. I don't have a definitive answer just yet, so I'm just waiting until an
Yeah,
opportunity presents itself.
there you go. And then I guess the last thing you touched on, but we'll close on this. You're getting construction loans through the process, but at the end of it, you're flipping that over, I'm guessing, to 30-year money.
30-year money, yes.
And is it typically with the same bank? Like, is it just go from construction and it flips right to perm, or do you go get a whole brand new loan?
I usually use a non-bank mortgage company. I
Okay.
feel like mortgage brokers have more tools and more
Oh yeah.
things to look at than a bank's mortgage company. So I've got somebody else that I use with those.
Very, very cool. Well, if somebody wanted to reach out, check in on what you're doing, Brandon, do you have a social media page or following, or where can people reach out?
I don't. Um,
It's
you know,
okay.
the the one I would tell you if you wanted to go to our website is principledpm.com is our principled property management
Okay.
website. That would be it.
Yeah, that works. Not everybody, that's good. Principled.com.
Yes, that's it.
All right, folks, if you want to ask questions about this, maybe a question I missed, go ahead and reach out to Brandon. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for being at the Vegas event. I appreciate you. Take care.